So we've all been there, right? We've created that great Teachers Pay Teachers product, we've uploaded it, we've added all the details that we can, but it isn't getting the clicks or even the sales that we were hoping for. That problem might just be because you didn't spend enough time on your thumbnail. Thumbnails are the first impression of a product, so it's important that you nail them. And in this video, I'm going to show you some of the tips that I've learned in creating great Teachers Pay Teachers thumbnails. Let's get into it. Here's my list of 5 important things that each of your Teachers Pay Teachers thumbnails needs to have. Number 1 is create your thumbnail with easy to read, bold text. And limit it. I'm thinking 3 to 5 words max. This is not the place to put an essay. It needs to be clear, legible, straight to the point, and usually I think of how can I break this down into the fewest words possible. Also, another really important tip here is zoom back or zoom out on your thumbnail and make sure that it's still easy to read from further away. If it's not, people aren't going to know right away what it is and they're less likely to click on your product. So make sure that it is clean, bold, and easy to read. Number 2 is having a bold, high contrast design. And with this, you can go a lot of ways. And you've all been there on Teachers Pay Teachers, scrolling through dozens and dozens and dozens of products that are all practically the same thing in their own different ways, but you're not sure which one to buy. You need to make sure that yours stands out. It catches the eye. Think of a lure at the end of a fishing line. It needs something a little bit bright and shiny, something attractive, so that we're more likely to click on that product. Just like a fish is more likely to bite that shiny lure. And we don't want to create false advertising, making our thumbnail better than our actual product, right? We need those to match, but it is important that your thumbnail looks nice. They are incredibly important. Number 3 is keep your design simple. This is one of the things that I see so often on Teachers Pay Teachers is a wonderful product probably, but a thumbnail that is just crowded and it's almost overstimulation. There's text everywhere and all kinds of colors and clip art, and there's so much to look at and you're not even sure what the product is in the end. Keep it simple. Don't show more than you have to. Choose, if you're sharing clip art, choose maybe 1 or 2 of your best pieces to include in the thumbnail, right? And you've got multiple options, but on that first page, keep it simple enough that the teacher knows what they're getting, knows what they're clicking into, and make them wanting to find out more rather than wishing they hadn't seen it at all to begin with. So keep it simple while at the same time keeping that bold and bright design that we talked about earlier. Step 4 is make sure you include a preview of whatever it is that you're selling. Right? So if you have, let's say, a lesson plan that you've created, showing that lesson plan or having text that says lesson plan will be very helpful for you, right? Or if you're sharing clip art, show some of that clip art, but make sure that you're showing some of what you're actually selling. I've seen thumbnails before that you look at the thumbnail and you're still not sure what it is that you're clicking on, right? So make sure that you are being truthful, that you're being helpful with your thumbnail, right? That thumbnail is we're helping the teacher click on your product, and everyone has something in mind that they're wanting, and so help connect that little bridge there. Step 5 is create consistent branding. I'm not exactly sure what thumbnail creation method you use, whether it's something like Canva or PowerPoint, but I recommend that you create consistent branding. Use a lot of the same colors, a lot of the same fonts, and often the same layout. Now this doesn't mean you can never go off the path and use a different color. I'm all for that, for being creative. Sometimes you need that eye-catchiness. But when someone clicks on your store, it should have a consistent feel. It should have a theme. We should be able to tell that, yes, this is your store. And if you created a great template once, it's easy to use that for products down the road. So I've given you my 5 tips now, and hopefully you can use those, but I invite you to stay for this last part of the video where we're going to create a thumbnail together. Inside of Canva, and I'm using the Pro version, but the tips that I'm giving you can apply to whatever software you use, whether it's Canva, the free version, or PowerPoint, or Photoshop, or whatever you'd like to use. The first thing we're going to do though is create a new document, a custom size, and TpT recommends 750 by 750 pixels. So we'll create that new design, and of course you can save that to use down the road. And here's where a lot of Canva's tools come in super handy, which I recommend using Canva. It just really is one of the most simple, easy ways to do it. It's all web-based. You don't need to download an app. They have lots of great templates, but for this one, we're going to create our own. That way you know how to make your own in the future. And the way I like to start out is just by going over to Elements, creating a background shape, and we're just going to cover our whole canvas. We're going to choose a color, let's say maybe a little bit like a light blue, something like that. This is where you can come in with your colors for your branding and your theme. But I like a little bit of texture to mine. So here's a texture that I found, and you can just find some of these different textures by coming up into the search elements bar, typing whatever texture you want. Maybe it's something two-toned or painted, and you can just type that right up in here, and there's all kinds of templates you can use. Now this feels just a little too busy for me. There's a lot going on, and my original color doesn't really match. You don't see it quite as much. So I'll take the transparency right up here and just dial that back to maybe about 20, 25, 23 in there. And now we still got some things going on. We've got a little bit of variety in our thumbnail, but it's not quite as busy as before. Super. Next, we're gonna go in and add in a text box. And for your text in a thumbnail, you should say what the product is. That's what I like to go for. And for the thumbnail we're creating today, I'm creating a motivational sports poster pack. And so I'm going to say it in as few words as possible. I have motivational sports posters here. And of course, we want our text to be very legible and very clear. So we'll make that about as big as we can before it chops off. I like to put my text right up at the top or at the bottom, so it leaves a lot of room to add in some previews. And we could just keep it right there. This font, yes, it's legible, but it's kind of boring and it's not very bold. So you can see here, you could use something that's really classy, but that's not going to read well when you zoom far away from it. It won't read quite as well. And so I like to use something a little bit bolder, something like a Nor'Wester font, Hit and Run. A lot of these are included with Canva. One that I like to use very often is Havita's in my products. So we'll just move that right to the top. It looks like our line spacing is off just a little bit. We'll tuck that in. And to me, that looks much, much better. Again, you can change your font color. I like it a little bit better in white, but it does make it a little harder to read. So what we can do then is come into effects. We can add in a lift, which just helps that to pop a little bit more. And maybe we can go just a bit bigger with that. So super. That could come in the top. And then the bottom doesn't look too bad either, but I think we'll keep it there at the top. And now the last thing that we need to do is actually show what it is that we have. So previewing. So in this poster pack, I have 15 motivational sports posters. You can upload them here simply by hitting upload files and uploading whatever files it is that you have. And I would pick maybe 3. Again, you're not showing everything off on that very first thumbnail, but we can come in here, select maybe 3 of our favorites, and we'll go from there. So we'll open those 3 and we can add them in just like so. We're going to want to make sure that they're the same size, but they're going to be a bit too big to see them all, so maybe make them a bit smaller. And then we're going to space them out a little bit and maybe change the height of some of these, bring these a little bit lower. And I think, this is a personal preference, but I think that a symmetrical design is a lot easier on the eye. And so I'm going to make these symmetrical, tilt both of these at 5 degrees and the other one at -5 degrees. So we've got our 3 posters kind of laid out. And again, this is very quick and simple, but you can see they kind of blend together a little bit. What I'm going to do is come in here, hit edit, come down to effects and shadows, and let's see, we'll try a glow shadow, or maybe a drop shadow might work a little bit better. We'll add that to all 3. That just kind of helps make it pop a little more. Maybe we'll make this poster that be a little bit bigger than the rest, and maybe bring these sizes up a little bit too. There's a very simple thumbnail. And again, in Teachers Pay Teachers, you can use multiple thumbnails, up to 4, to showcase your product. So what I would probably do is, this might be my first thumbnail. Then in the second thumbnail, I might show all 15 just very small. But again, the only way you can see that second thumbnail is by actually clicking into the product. So we're focusing mainly on the first thumbnail that we see. Again, we can do the test by scrolling back. It's very legible. We have a very quick overview of what we see. We know we're getting sports themed posters. We can kind of get the feel of the product. It's very simple, it's clean, but it's got enough contrast that it'll catch the eye. It's simple, and if I use this blue theme and this bold faced type, then it's very simple to keep that with my branding for the rest of it. So I think that's a great thumbnail, and we did that in just a few minutes. If you spend a lot of time crafting a perfect thumbnail recipe, you can use that for all your products down the road. So hopefully this video was helpful for you, and hopefully you'll receive more clicks on your products by having great thumbnails. This video was a lot of fun to make, so let me know if there's any topics you would like me to talk about next down in the comments. Have a great day and happy teaching.